Coogan Cassius for IFL TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're at the Lee Purdy benefit evening here in Chigwell. With me I've got promoter Eddie Hearn. Well, what can you say about Lee Purdy?
Lee Purdy was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences and people that I've dealt with in boxing. You know, this is a guy who had pretty much zero amateur pedigree. I think took part in some unlicensed fights, that was about it. Went to Tony Sims, started his journey. I remember the night at the MEN Arena when Lee Purdy won the British title. It was unbelievable. Like, he knocked the guy out, and then he rematched him. And then from there went on and was involved in some big fights, culminating, of course, in the fight against Devon Alexander for the IBF World title in Atlantic City, which was just such a bizarre, you know, set of circumstances where Kell Brook fell out of the fight, went down the ratings, got to Lee Purdy, 3.5 weeks to go. Lee Purdy got the phone call, and I didn't even have to ask him twice. You know, he went out there and done pretty well, really. I mean, you know, stayed in the fight. Darren Barker pulled him out after, I think, 8 or 9 rounds. He was furious, but it was the right thing to do. Come back, had that brilliant fight with Leonard Bundu, and, you know, I think Lee will be the first to admit he never anticipated a career like this in boxing, you know, and he's got so many great memories. And great tonight that so many people from the sport are here. You know, obviously picked up an eye injury against Bundu and decided, you know, he was going to pack the game up. So people here tonight to pay tribute to him and help him on his way. You know, obviously his life has been dedicated to the sport of boxing. That's been his financial means. And tonight is a night to make sure that we help him on his way into his career beyond boxing. I hope he stays in boxing as well. You know, he's a top man.
Your dad obviously made no secret of the fact that he was one of Lee Purdy's biggest fans, if not his biggest fan. Also said that, you know, he most probably overachieved in his career. So, yeah.
Massively overachieved. I mean, no disrespect to Lee, but what Tony Sims did for him was unbelievable. He took him, I mean, he had losses early on in his career. It looked like he was going to be a Southern area fighter. Won the English title on a Kell Brook show in Sheffield. Went on, won the British title. You know, challenged for a world title, challenged for the European title. You know, and had some great nights. Night against Ali Pali, against the Argentinian fighter. I can't remember his name now, but it was a brilliant, brilliant night. And Lee Purdy massively overachieved in his career, and he had some great nights. But you couldn't take the fighter out of Lee Purdy. You know, I remember when he fought Bundu. Remember, he was getting hit, and he used to do this thing where he'd get hit, and he'd just go like that, you know, and you think, don't do that, just put your guard up. But he loved to fight. Lee Purdy loved to fight, and you always knew you were going to get great value for money out of Lee Purdy when he was in the ring.
26 fight career, 20 wins, a decent record of that, but he mixed it at all levels, didn't he? I mean, from obviously the heights of the Alexander fight, even though the weight situation happened at the weigh-in, and obviously the Bundu defeat and the Colin Lyons defeat was a difficult night for him, losing his British title as well.
Well, that's what you're talking about there. You know, he lost to Colin Lyons for the British title, yet went on to fight Devon Alexander and Bundu for the European title. You know, we talk about overachieving. We know Lee Purdy did that, but he had a wonderful career. You know, and you know, he's just a top man. Loves coming to the boxing, lives and breathes fighting still, and I hope he stays involved with the sport.
How could he stay involved with the sport, in your opinion?
Well, I think he's learned a lot, and he's a great motivator, and he's a great grafter. He's also a beast in the gym, so he's someone that you knew would give 120% in the gym throughout every camp. You know, and you talk about the weight with the Alexander fight. Ultimately, he was given 3.5 weeks. He was already in training, but he had a tough job, and he equipped himself very well in that fight. So I think Lee Purdy would be great to have around a coaching team. You know, he's a strong, motivated young man, and you know, I'll never forget some of his fights. He's absolute, like you say, one of my old man's favourite fighters. He just loved Lee Purdy.
All right, Eddie, and thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and have a good night.
See you tomorrow.
Berlin.